On this show, we talked with Viv about whether you should have to change parts of yourself to be in your relationship. Well, I feel quite strongly that the answer is yes. Let's just take a second to think about what happens if both people go into a relationship with that mindset that they don't need to change at all, that their partner should accept them fully as they are. On its face, it sounds like an amazing self-worth party, right? But I'm suggesting that it's actually a restrictive mindset that will end up frustrating both partners. And I know I've said this before. I just don't believe that two humans with their separate humanness can come together and not have to adjust how they act. And further, I believe that thinking otherwise sets off a chain of faulty thinking. What usually follows this feeling like I don't need to change is the idea that if you do have to make adjustments, it somehow means that your partner is being unreasonable or unjust or unloving to want you to change in that way. And further, it is one of those pesky double standards we engage in our relationships that drive me crazy. Think of how often you consider your partner's quirks so annoying or irritating, but our own idiosyncrasies are endearing or deserve grace and patience, right? Wrong. The truth is, we expect our partner to be accommodating, to be responsive to our complaints, but then we turn around and say, well, love me for who I am. And if you don't, it means you don't love the real me. And then down and down we go through this rejection or resentment, frustration rabbit hole. I do have a caveat, which I tend to have during these. I do hope that no one out there thinks I'm saying you should give up the core of who you are, your values, your morals, your personality, all of that to be in a relationship. I'm talking more about the very necessary behaviors and patterns of thinking that need to be adjusted in order to coexist with your partner. Relationships just force us to be less self-focused. They just do. We somehow need to radically accept this idea, which brings it with the need to be a slightly different version of ourselves for our partner, right? To engage in more acts of kindness, more communication, more patience and compromise, all for the collective good. You know what? Let me give you an example. So say maybe you're not good at showing affection, but you happen to be with a partner who feels most loved when they're getting hugs and cuddles from you. Does it service the relationship in any way for you to say, nope, sorry, you're not getting hugs from me. It just doesn't come naturally to me. Deal with it. Or let's even flip it. Maybe it drives you crazy that your partner, say, is like a super messy person. Does it service a relationship if your partner says, I'm just a messy person. Deal with it. Take it or leave it. If ever there's a time to be gracious, isn't it with the people you love? And there's that old saying, love people the way they want to be loved, not the way that you want to be loved, right? And to accomplish that may require you to do something outside who your baseline self is. And I know I've talked before about irritants versus deal breakers and when you do need to suck it up, when you don't need to suck it up. But let's not engage in relationships. No, let's not start relationships with this rigidity of I am who I am, and try to think of ways we can show up better for our partners, ways that we can adjust and be slightly better versions of ourselves, or even go outside our comfort zone to provide something our partner wants. And this is an important point, to not attach resentment to it or keep score or see it as something you shouldn't have to do. Because no matter the type of relationship you're in, your willingness to cooperate and collaborate is an important part of relational success. And it's just harder to do that if your brain is telling you not to budge. So I say, get out of your own way by not starting relationships with faulty mindsets right when you go in. That's it for today. To share your thoughts or even be a guest on the show, email us at theunrelatingpodcast@gmail.com.